Hi everyone, welcome to Trax Gaming. I'm just going to do a quick video. Got a few questions of people who are new to the game, new to TSM, to show a little bit of how you start up your groups if you don't want to go and download them. If you want to download them, there's a lot of ways you can get groups. The most easiest way is to go to the WoW Economy Discord. The link will be in the description below, as well as a pastebin group. Pastebin site from myself where you can find Legion groups, how I use them. Alright, so I'm gonna open up TSM right now. You can see this is a new character and I got some old world items, stuff you come across while you are leveling. So you see I have made a test profile, so I'm gonna start from scratch here. If you go to a group name, you just have to use something. I always use old materials like so, and then I'm just going to make subgroups like mining stuff, and I'm gonna add another one which will be herbalism, and you can add one for enchanting. You can make anything you want basically. It's just how you are going to be able to find everything back. And then you got stuff for tailoring, which is in my bags. I'm gonna put it in, otherwise, well, what's the point of doing this stuff? So on some servers everything sells, on other servers it's quite hard. So what I just did, gonna remove them again. So everything you have, it says here parent ungrouped items. So if I go to old materials, there's nothing in there. So I can go and put everything in this group, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to separate them. We're going to go for herbalism, so I have Briarthorn, Bruiseweed, Mage Royal, Swiftithle, Flithel. Gonna put these in here. So these are now in the herbalism subgroup. You can do the same thing for mining. I don't have any ore right now. And then the same for tailoring, which is linen cloth, wool cloth, silk cloth. And then I'm gonna add one for cooking. So these are cooking reagents. I have lion meat and then small eggs. Small eggs, especially around Winter's Veil, get quite expensive. So we now have them in groups. Yes, okay, we have them in groups, but that doesn't mean it's going to sell. If I select old materials, it will show everything. Cooking itself, herbalism itself, mining, nothing in there so far, and then tailoring itself. So I'm gonna use one group for all these items. I just separate them. Maybe something will sell faster than other things or more expensive than other things, so you have to change a operation. What is this operation going to do? You have a auctioning operation. You can select a new one. So I'm just gonna call it old materials. So what do you use? You could use a full stack size. You just pull this little block here and put it on 200, and then a post cap. How many stacks of 200 you want to post? So let's say, well, 10, or you can go unlimited or just one. And the duration, if you have a lot of time and you can get in the game like in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, you could go with 12 hours. 24, that's quite easy. 48, I wouldn't recommend doing 48. Almost nothing is going to be put on 2 days for myself. Maybe you could do that if you have limited playtime, but I use 24. And keep quantity, you could do this if you use some stuff for, like, say, professions. You want to keep 500 of each item, you just type it in. I want to keep 500 of these items. So that's why you have these selected groups, and you have to make a group for, let's say, a specific subgroup. So bit percentages, you could do this if you go with the highest. They can only buy out stuff. You could lower it a bit. Do bear in mind, if you put it too low, you might not sell it for the amount you wanted it for. Now you can go with fixed prices. Minimum price is there, normal price, and the maximum price. but you're gonna sell these old world reagents. So if you see here, I'm gonna hover over there, and you have the tooltip, and it starts up with the group it's in, vendor sell price, inventory, how much I actually have on this account, and then TSM auction database. So it's telling me right now there are 111 auctions of linen cloth on the auction house. The minimum buyout, so the cheapest one, is 6 silver, where the market value is 20 silver. Now I'm nowhere near an auction house, and you're starting to set up your group, so it's a little bit give a go, testing how fast something will sell. Now the minimum price, so you have these sources. If you type TSM sources, it will display. Let me try and get into my chat box. Okay, so if I type in TSM sources, it's gonna give me everything you could use. See, you have auction appraiser, auction market, auction minimum buyout, destroy, vendor buy, vendor sell, and we're gonna use these here. Average buy, average sell, maximum buy, maximum sell, minimum buy, minimum sell, and also these two here, vendor buy, vendor sell, and then this little bit here. Now I'm gonna tell you the most important ones if you're just starting out. So we're going to open TSM again, go to that group, go to the operation, still have the old materials operation. So first of all, what I'm going to change before I put in all prices, you're leveling through zones. That means you will not have a complete stack of everything, because you leave the zone quicker than you can actually farm, or you just hang around to farm a full stack. You could do that, no problem with that, but allow partial stack. Let's say you only have 100 Brian Torn once you are past level 30 or something, and you leave the zone, you never to come back again. If you put the stack size on 200, it's not going to list it on the auction house. So we're going to see the minimum price. So what I'm actually am going to use, because I'm going to use the example of linen cloth, vendor sell price is 13 copper. Yes. So what I never want to do is put this item on the auction house cheaper than what it would sell to a vendor. So I want at least double for it. You say, okay, my minimum price is 200% vendor sell. Easy. So the cheapest it will list, one piece of linen, is now 26 copper. Yeah, I'm not gonna hit gold cap with this minimum price. No way. Okay. So what we are going to do, we're gonna add something. Market value is 20 silver and 11 copper. So if I put in 100% TB market, it will list it for 20 silver, 11 copper a piece. But invalid custom price. If you are using this, you will have to tell TSM what it's going to use. So let's say vendor sell right now is 26 copper. Let's say 100% DB market drops down below 200% vendor sell, below 26 copper. So it goes to 20 copper market value. TSM doesn't know which value I will pick. So if I say maximum, I open hook, close hook. This is a valid TSM source. It is going to pick the highest value of these two items, 200% vendor sell or 100% DB market, whichever is the highest. This is a valid price for these items. Now we also have a maximum price and a normal price. But right now, next to minimum price, we have when below minimum price, don't post items. Well, what if there's only one auction below that value? And the person who is going over to the auction house needs like 500 linen cloth. And he buys a stack of 20 items, which were 1 copper a piece, cheaper than yours, and now suddenly your auction didn't sell. Instead, if it was on the auction house, for when below minimum, post at minimum, it will probably had sold. That is why you put here post as a minimum price. Now, if it's far below minimum price, you can even choose what you're going to do. You can post it at normal price. What would be the normal price range you want this item to sell for? Let's say, okay, I want to make a little bit more. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's say you want to make a little bit more, and you say normal price. I'm gonna start up the same way. My normal price, would that be 200% vendor sell if I want to make more? No, we're going with 400% vendor sell. Yes, but what would be a valid DB market range? Should I post these for the double? Now let's see here. Minimum buyout 6 silver. Market value 20 silver. So the cheapest price is 14 silver lower, which is more than 66% cheaper. So I don't need to push it. You could use like 150% DB market. But what I'm going to do when below minimum, post at minimum price. So this is the cheapest I will compete with. Otherwise, we're gonna post it at this price and maybe a maximum price. Let's say every week somebody is making old world items from professions and he needs a bunch of linen cloth. He needs a lot more. So maybe we have the chance to sell it at a higher rate. Let's say he cleans up the entire auction house buying 10,000 linen cloth. Are you then going to post this at, like it says here, when above maximum price? Post at normal? No, we're gonna post it at maximum price. As soon as something is high, we're gonna post it high as well. Now I do the same thing. Okay, I didn't had the price box selected. Now we know what's up. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing. Another maximum value, max price. What would that be? Should I double? Or maybe even more. So let's say we're gonna double the value of our normal price. Let's say 800%. Let's see, vendor sell. And 300% DB market. Just to start off. Just to get going. Now on a lot of servers, especially high population servers, a lot of this stuff, this 100% DB market, it's not gonna work on old materials. You could say like 60%. Maybe that works better for you. This is why you have to test it. You put something on the auction house, comes back to you, didn't sell, expired auction. Gonna post it again, same thing, use the same groups. Didn't sold, didn't sell, nothing. You still have the remaining items. Maybe you get even more. Like you say, okay, I'm gonna do an old dungeon to get a transmog. Suddenly you have more than 1,000 linen cloth. You gotta drop your price. And that's what you are going to change. I wouldn't recommend putting lower than 200% vendor sell. Otherwise you could be selling it yourself to a vendor. So lower this DB market price. If your DB market price, Like in my case, market value, that's the DB market, is 32. Well, let's go back to linen cloth. It's 20 silver. Region market value average is 36. I'm on EU, so region market value is the collective price for linen cloth from all servers divided by the amount of servers. So it's the average of all European servers. You could even add, it's more for rare items. If this item doesn't get listed a lot, you could say, okay, 60% DB market, and for the minimum price, we are going to use 50% of DB region market average. That's a valid price. Doesn't give me a error. So what we can also do in this case, yeah, if I go to the normal price, do the same thing. In this case, 150% DB market or 100% DB region market average. That's my OCD. I'm gonna put a space here. And then in this case, 200% DB region market average. Now, you don't really need to do this for linen cloth, but if somebody is controlling your market and the price of your market value is calculated on something like 2 weeks. So the DB market is the average of the price listing for linen cloth, calculated over 2 weeks. So it's gonna get this data, and suddenly from 2 weeks and 1 day, so from day 15, somebody is flipping the market and putting everything 10,000 times the value it should be. After 2 weeks, my market price would be so high, and then in comparison with the region market value, which would be significantly lower, this is still not going to work because it's going to take the highest value. So what you can do is average DB market, DB region market average, and you do it for everything. It's just to be in control if weird things happen to your market price. So this is how you set up groups. What I'm now going to do, I'm gonna hop over to one of my characters, and we are going to do the same thing, but for profession crafted items. Alright, so right now I'm on my leatherworker. I have TSM opened. This is a little bit of my stock from my my personal guild bank. I have some stuff to make that I actually have to because it's sold. So I'm gonna put in 2 dread leather belts and what else? Foot pads and gloves. I'm gonna work with that. Just so I can show you something, I need almost a full stack of stone hide leather. So we're just going to make everything. Okay. This is Legion stuff, so this may be important for a few more people. So we're gonna put excess material back into the bank. I'm gonna close TSM crafting, so I have these 4 items right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going over, see, this is my actual group for this server. Profiles. I'm gonna use the same one. Test how to. That's the one I was working with. So you have these old materials. So you could do the same setup for Legion materials, but I would recommend, wouldn't recommend going too low with DB market and DB region. I would go with 90 or 100 on DB market value, and then for DB region market value I would go around 80% or 90, maybe even 90. Depending on the items, you have to look in comparison. So see why I need to make those. If you look at TSM auction database, 0 auctions, 0 auctions, 0 auctions. Are you alright? It's the dog sneezing. Alright, and then we have dread leather foot pads who have, well, they're 3 posted on the auction house. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make another group. So we're going to call it leatherworking. Yeah, you could do the older leatherworking as well. So I'm going to make a new subgroup name. This is stuff from Legion. Easy. When the expansion is over, you can put, well, you can diverse. So what you are going to see, you have here a box. We're going to put it in leatherworking first, so we can discard everything right there. So we have Legion. Okay, we can still see it. You can press ignore random enchant and ungroups items. First I'm going to take these out because you can still see them. So leatherworking, ignore random enchants and ungrouped items. You can select all of these. Or if you don't want your groups to be too big, you use ignore random enchant and it will say dread leather belt instead of dread leather belt of the Peerless and dread leather belt of the Aurora. You can put these on. Okay, so we are now in leatherworking and then Legion itself. So this is Legion stuff. Dread leather belt, dread leather foot pads, and dread leather gloves. So we are going to need a operation for that. So we're gonna override it because there's nothing there. I'm not gonna use old materials because this is crafted stuff. So we're gonna create a new operation. The operation name would be Legion Crafted or Legion Leatherworking, Legion Crafted Armor. I'm using armor because I use the same group basically for everything from Legion Leatherworking, tailoring and blacksmithing. So what we're going to do, the same thing as I did before, 24 hours. A post cap. Yeah, I could put 2 of the same items on the auction house right now. And then stack size, well, it's singles. I don't need a higher one. But with leatherworking you can make like drums of the mountain, which give you the same effect as bloodlust or heroism or time warp. So what we're going to do, going to increase the stack size if you are selling that. But this is Legion armor. Yeah, the group name says it itself. Legion crafted armor, stack size 1. Okay, now we need a minimum price. So if I look at the market value, right now is 2,200 gold. And we also have region market value, which is 2,700 gold, which is not so bad. But on the bottom we have crafting cost, which is 655 gold. So my minimum price would be, well, I'm gonna do this something else. The minimum price would be at least 100% crafting. So now my minimum price will be 655 gold. And that's good. If you farm the leather yourself, that's a nice profit margin. Let's say you are going to buy it from the auction house. You have to put it at 106. Why? Because there's an auction fee cutoff of 5% and also a posting price. And if you sell it right away, you could go with 106, which means you will never lose any gold because you bought the leather. So minimum price is 106% crafting. Okay, you go to the auction house and you buy a leather. You probably are not going to buy anything above 100%. I wouldn't. So I'm somebody who camps the auction house with a third account. So I actually buy everything that's below 70%. And if my bank is not full on that item. So what my minimum price is, I use 100%, 120% crafting, which is around 800 gold for this item, which is a nice profit margin. Now, what you could also do is not only use a minimum price, but you put the market value in there as well. So we're going to use a crafting value, and we are going to use a DB market value. So my minimum price would be 100% DB market. Now it says in my chat, invalid custom price, invalid function details with the hooks are missing. So 100% DB market is right now 2,200 gold. That's good. 0 auctions. So if I make here a normal price of, let's say, 150% crafting, or no, maybe 200% crafting and 150% DB market. And in this case, when above maximum, post at normal price is activated, what is going to happen? I'm going to list this half of the price extra, 150%. So instead of 655, it's going to post it for 975. I'm going to make this item more expensive. Like I said, DB market, it's an average over 2 weeks. So I'm going to make this item more expensive than it is. So if it doesn't sell day after day, and it keeps coming back, and I'm gonna keep listing it, eventually it will be worth 100,000 gold, and no one's gonna buy that. Maybe something crazy, someone really desperate to get that item, and does not type in trade chat, want to buy dread leather belt, who can make me a dread leather belt, looking for a leather worker who could make it for, maybe he's going to say, well, I'm going to make it for you for 4,000 gold, which is a lot better than 100,000 gold. So we need something to fix this price. So we're going to use the same thing as we did before with the DB region. So what we are going to do is we can make an average of 150% DB market. I could use 150% DB region market, but in this case it's higher. So this would mean eventually, if I got a lot of competition, this maybe isn't gonna work. So I'm gonna start off with 125% DB region market average again. Now it still says, write down in chat, you can't see it. It still says invalid custom price, invalid function, because of the hooks. Because we started off with something. So what we're going to do is the same thing with the farming one. We're going to make maximum and then close the entire thing. And now my chat stays empty. I'm not getting an error message. But this means in this case, I made this for normal price. I need this for minimum price as well. Because if the DB market will rise by any circumstances, and it's going higher than my normal price, I will not be able to post it because my posting scan will say invalid price for this item. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make maximum 120% crafting, and then we're going to make an average again for 100% DB market, and then also a lower DB region market average for my minimum price. So we're going to go with 90%. This is something you have to test, see what works on on your server, and don't start out too big. Just do it with one item of each. Test it. If it sells too quickly, or in comparison it gets listed much lower than your competitors, you have to do something about it. And then also a maximum price. Did it again. Okay, back to that group. See, I know my way around, so don't worry about it. Maximum price in this case, we are going with, yeah, maybe we could go with 300% crafting, or maybe even with 400% crafting. You can't exaggerate, but you don't have to settle for anything less than you deserve for putting all the effort into TSM and into your auctions and into everything you do on your character. We're gonna go with 250% DB market. And what are we gonna do? Yeah, let's go 175% DB region market average. So this will keep, especially the average, will keep you from boosting up the price. So when below minimum, yeah, we could go with minimum price. We're gonna go for normal price. This is actually what I take on crafted items, and then post at maximum price when it's above maximum price. And actually for gear, I put it on 95%. You could put it for less. Now I'm gonna jump back to the stats really quick. Yeah, I have a group right now that says post cap 2. So it's going to post a maximum of 2 dread leather belts, 2 dread leather foot pads, and 2 dread leather gloves. And you can see if I unselect ignore random enchants, that we already have 2 different kind of belts. The dread leather belt of the Aurora, which has a market value of 3,500 gold, and the belt of the Peerless, which has a market value of 2,200 gold. Now what I actually do, maybe I think I'm quite of the few who does this. I'm going to put all of the secondary stats separately in. So I can post 2 belts of the Aurora, 2 dread leather belts of the Peerless, instead of 2 maximum. So if I craft like 6 belts and they all have a different stat, I can post them all. If I make 12 belts with 6 different stats, I'm gonna go and post 2 of each, because Legion crafted armor at times will sell very well, because a lot of people are leveling characters, especially with BFA coming up. So you can go like this. I work like this. So I have it in right now. So this is how I work. I'm going to show you one thing more, and that is actually, I'm going to put this in. I'm going to go to Trade Skill Master, so I put the items of Stonehide Leather and Storm Scale in my bag. So we have leatherworking and old materials. So what I could do is change this name to just materials in management, and then put this in a subgroup for old materials. And I'm just going to add a group for Legion materials. And what I can do is put Stonehide Leather and Storm Scale in. I could make subgroups for this as well, which I'm not going to do. I'm gonna make an operation. So when you see here in this operation, I have the old materials one. I have vendor sell, average DB market, and 50% DB region market. So I'm gonna duplicate this to Legion materials. Yes, so we have the same, only I'm not satisfied with these values. If I'm going to sell Stone height letters, storm scale. I'm gonna go with at least 90%, or when you flip these items, buying them cheap, putting them higher up on the auction house, you gotta go with at least 106% DB region market average, and you have to check what the region market value is. I don't really use this. I use it like this. Well, not like that. And there's another thing. If you decide to flip these items, you should go with average buy as well. If you buy them cheap and you want to put them on the auction house, we're gonna put it on as well. So 106%. And I'm gonna change this to 100%. Made a little bit of a mistake right there. So the cheapest I'm going to list it is for 100% DB market, because that's the price that everybody is seeing on TSM. So we're gonna go with OK for that. You can leave the vendor cell, you can put it out on this one, or you could lower this a little bit, and you're gonna do the same for all the other groups. So right now we only have vendor sell on the highest one. This is actually the highest one. So let's say you're going to sell it for the maximum of 300 times what it's actually worth, and then the average buy price. If you're using maximum, you could do maybe something like double for what you bought it for. But I don't recommend it being so high. Why? Because it's taking the maximum value. DB market would be most of the times higher than anything you bought it for. So just the safety net, for safety net reasons, put in 150. And then for the normal price, because it's taking the maximum, I'm gonna do something similar. So we have vendor sell, and then we can go for 200% DB market, which is quite high for a normal price. And I'm gonna show you just in a second why it becomes obsolete. Normal prices become obsolete when you select below minimum, post at minimum, and when above maximum you post at maximum. If I would say post at a normal price when above maximum, it's going to use this one, so then you really need it. And then when below minimum, post at normal price, then you're also going to need it. So I'm going to leave this at minimum maximum. I'm not going to use bid percentages. I often take advantage of that, but I'm not going to do this. And you can change stack size. You could copy the same thing and say like, I want to post 2 full stacks, and then I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make Legion materials, and then 50 stacks of 50, and just reduce the stack size. I'm going to do it like this. You also have the allow partial stacking. You could put this out and then go back to that group and the operations, and then add, oh no, not this one, no, remove operation. Okay, Legion materials, that is where we were. So we made Legion materials and we could add 50, but because I said, yeah, well, not said, I typed in no partial stacking, I'm gonna put this one first. So it's gonna use this one first and then that. So let's say we're gonna post 4 stacks of 50. So that's 2 full stacks. And all the rest, no, this one. And all the rest is being posted in full stacks till eventually I posted 10 full stacks as well, or I've run out of materials. I'm gonna put them on the auction house partially. So we have the leatherworking group, which is active, the materials group, where I have 2, and then the old materials group where I'm going to post at full stacks or smaller stacks. And we need one more thing, because there may be a chance you are going to buy items off the auction house because you don't have time to farm them, or you just don't bother. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna make a shopping operation, create a new operation. You're gonna say, let's call it Legion Materials, because that's where we're making him. And then let's say, what are we gonna go and show? So you could do the same thing. They have examples, and what we could do, maximum auction price. Let's say you want to get everything on the auction house which says maximum auction price, let's say DB market. I want to see everything. And you could select show auctions above max price. Maybe you need 1000 stonehide leather and you only get to see 800. You need one more stack more. And you found some so cheap that you're not coming up to that 80% except for just a few items, and you could buy 200 more at 82%, and overall didn't go, if you add up those 1000 stonehide letters, you don't go above an average of 80%. You could use show auctions above max price. You can make it automated, maximum restock quantity, like I want 2000 stonehide letters at all time. So if you do like a restock scan, you will only get like 2000. So we're gonna use this for now. This is only a beginner's guide. So at shopping we have Legion Materials. So I have a character dedicated to auctioning. But I'm just going to the auctioneer just to show these groups in action. Well, I only have the ones for leatherworking I made. So those 4 items and the stonehide leather. But I'm going to show it just really quick how it's going to get listed. So we're going over to the auction house in Orgrimmar. Okay, so we're here at the auction house. And we're going to do a quick search. Start search. Okay, I get to see storm scale, I don't get to see stonehide leather. So the stonehide leather on the auction house, or a person has bought everything available, or it's not listed below that 80% I actually used. So storm scale, right now, this is 5 gold, and the market value is almost 7 gold. So I'm going to see everything on the auction house up to 80% of that market value of 6 gold, 86. So I could go out and buy everything out. So I'm just going to change this group for Legion Materials. The shopping operation, let's say we're going to view everything up to 100% DB market, and still not selected show auctions above maximum price. Let's see if we get to see stonehide leather. Yes. So now we get to see all stonehide leather until it reaches that market value. Everything above that market value is not going to be shown. So this is how you buy all these materials. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a post scan. I'm not actually going to post these items, because this is my auctioneer right now. So what do we got? Dread leather belt. The gloves are first. So the gloves, region market value is 3,200. Market value is 1,450. So it's going to list them for 3,124, because this is sorry. Because this is, I think it was an average between market value and DB region market value. If I just used, let's say 100% DB market, So it's going to list it for 1,450 as shown in the tooltip. And my maximum value is 300% of that, and I'm using a little bit lower dB region market so I don't explode the market. So we have 250, 175. So 250 times 1450. Yeah, 2 times it's 3,000 gold, and then 50% extra, which is 700. So that's 3,700. And then the region market value is 175. So it's going to go for something in between those two numbers. And that's why you get to see 3,124 as my normal price. So we're doing well. I do not have any competition right now. Maybe a few people are busy or on vacation, or maybe it's just a weekend. Normally I have more competition, but I'm going to list these items. And for storm scale, you get to see below minimum price posting at minimum price, and that is because the operation is going for 100% DB market and 106% average buy. What is my average buy price right now? 3 gold. So it will always go with that 100% DB market because it's higher, but it's listed much cheaper. So if I do a manual scan, it's 4 gold. And I'm going to list this for 4 gold, 65 silver. So my postings would be in between those two. And that's how you start up with TSM. That's how you start with your groups. Depending on how successful this video would actually be and people requesting anything more, I will probably make a follow-up of this video. For now, it is what it is. It's the first time I do like a beginner's video for TSM. I did a quick startup video, which was a lot more complicated, not so much into detail explaining everything, just showing how I set everything up. And now I'm using the examples as well. So I hope this was useful. If you request anything else, you can drop it in the comment section below. Good luck using TSM. TSM4 is coming up, so maybe this video will become obsolete very soon. But have fun making gold, have fun playing the game, and happy gold hunting. See ya.